Hello, everyone, and welcome to another SCMH webinar. Today's topic is Project Management APQP Alignment. I'm Susan Matson with the IAQG, and I will be supporting the team as they share their knowledge on fundamentals of project management, alignment between project management and the IAQG 9145 standard, and the Project Management Monitor and Control Process template. The guidance materials discussed during this webinar are located in SCMH, which can be accessed by visiting scmh.iaqg.org under Plan and Manage, section 7.9. Before we start, there are a few notes I'd like to share. It is recommended that you close all other applications to improve your bandwidth. As time permits, the team will answer as many questions as possible at the end, so please use the Q&A function if questions arise. The webinar is being recorded and will be available in the SCMH under Project Management in the Plan and Manage area, section 7.9, as well as being shared publicly. SCMH stands for Supply Chain Management Handbook, an IAQG tool that provides guidance materials to continuously prove on time and on quality delivery throughout the entire value stream. Our objective is to help the supply chain improve its quality performance by better understanding the requirements and expectations of the aviation, space, and defense industry quality management systems. This guidance is free for anyone to use within their supply chain. Without further ado, allow me to introduce our presenters today. Diana Giorgini, Aerospace and Defense Business Development Manager from ALTLA. Jeff Sharon, Senior Business Manager, GE Aerospace. Ivan Benegas, Senior Quality Manager, Airbus Commercial. Jean-Jacques Denelou, APQP Standard Owner, Airbus Helicopter. Bankaj Deo, Associate Director, Collins Aerospace. Amalio Monzon Vasquez, Head of Quality Digital, Airbus Space and Defense. And Mark Doolittle, Senior Technical Fellow, Collins Aerospace. He is also the PSCI leader, which oversees the SCMH. Bankaj, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Susan. You can share you can see the screen, right? Okay, so before starting the presentation, I would like to provide you a little bit of a background on this team and the material which has been rolled out. So the existing project management material was due for the new revision. And as we all know, there is a misconception or misunderstanding about APQP in our industry. I'm going to quote Mark here by talking about APQP. The Q is not a quality function, but it stands for good planning. Hence, the PSCI team decided to take this opportunity and address this misconception. So this team was formed almost 1.5 years back, and to update the project management chapter, and at the same time highlight how project management and APQP are aligned. So we have rolled out the material now, and we have also created one podcast around this topic to answer some misunderstanding around this topic. So we are going to cover in today's webinar the fundamentals of project management. Then we are going to talk about project management groups, its objectives, key outputs, and then we are also going to highlight alignment between project management and AS 9145 standard, along with monitoring and controlling tool. So without further ado, I would like to hand it over to Diana, who is going to help us understand the fundamentals of project management.
So thank you so much, Pankaj. Hello, everyone. So happy to be in this webinar and to talk with you and share my experience. As you were saying before, yes, my experience relates to, let's say, about 30 years working in the supply chain, in the aerospace supply chain. So I am a specialist in that. So you can imagine that, my daily routine is to struggle with customers talking about performance, competitiveness, compliance with the requirements, and so on and so on. And so For this reason, I'm very happy to be with you and to talk about project management. And I would like to add that another important point for me is to give my perspective, which is the perspective of a person doing business development and the perspective of a person making part of a small organization. So I hope this will help to make understand the importance of project management and all the aspects connected to this. First of all, I believe it is important to define project and project management. As Pankaj was saying, we start from the fundamentals because I think it is important to understand the preliminary information and then to develop this topic step by step. The first thing I would like to underline is that project is an effort. I like defining project as an effort because it's a complex effort. And as you can see in this slide, the definition we decided to give to project is a complex, unique, time-determined enterprise and to achieve a predetermined goal through a continuous process of planning, execution, and control, together with the resources that you have and with interdependent cost timing and scope constraints. So this is the definition of project. I believe that we all can find our experience in this. And what I would like to underline is which are the key success factors. So multidisciplinary team, I believe, is fundamental. It is not so common, especially in small organizations, to consider this aspect. So I would like to underline it together with centralized and coordinated management. Again, very important, understanding of planning complexities and constraints, and effective stakeholder and team communication. And I would like to underline the word communication because we will see together afterwards it is very important for effective project management. So the other aspect is project management. We said that project is a complex effort, so we need to manage this effort in some way with a robust methodology. And so, project management, you can see the definition here. You need, first of all, to consider the application of technical and soft skills. You need professional and personal expertise. You need to apply methods. You need some techniques. You need tools to achieve the project goals. Which are the project goals? So you in a project management methodology, you behave within an estimated time frame, within estimated cost because you have a budget, with expected level of performance and technology, which is required by your stakeholders, and using assigned resources effectively and efficiently. And final, but not less important, customer approval and satisfaction. Again, which are the key success factors in project management? So the first aspect is the top management commitment. Again, without the top management commitment, you will not get your success. So this is fundamental for the good performance and the good success of your project management. Then the full stakeholder participation and the risk identification and mitigation. Again, let me underline these three key success factors because especially in small organization and maybe not only in small organization, it is not so common and in any way it can be a challenge for the organization itself. So I like to underline this aspect. So you will understand, having considered project and project management with their characteristics, how important it is for doing project management, for doing business development. So every day I work having in mind these important key elements, which at the end of the story give the customer satisfaction. So I would like to encourage everyone to consider all these aspects. There is another important aspect that I would like to underline. When I was talking about business development, I was talking about small organization. There are especially two aspects which I would like to underline. So one is customization. For small organization, it can be a challenge to work with project management, and we will see afterwards to work with APQP. Because it seems to be a huge effort, because it seems to be something not familiar, because it seems to be strange inside the small organization. So my first message on this is that project management, and we will see afterwards at PQP, is not just for big industries, but it's for everyone. So any kind of effort of project, of program and so on can be really based on project management. So the concept of customization of project management at PQP is fundamental in order to face any challenge in any kind of activity in the aerospace sector, and not only. The other aspect I would like to underline is lessons learned. So if you practice with project management and you do your activities concerned and focused on lesson learned, you will see that when you do mistakes, you can really improve your process according to the mistakes you did. And this happens if you can identify your mistakes, if you can evaluate them, and if you can build your new practices on your mistakes. So again, this is not so common in small organization, and my message is really to rely on that. As a final consideration on this, again, for small organization, I would like to underline that if you never acted, if you never perform according to project management, you should start. And the best reference is to join IAQG, to go on the website. You go in the section dedicated to supply chain management handbook, and you can really find all the guidance and tools for using and for starting using or for improving your use of project management, and this will be very helpful for you. I believe that for small organization, this could be an advantage because it is true that maybe it can be a challenge, but at the same time, very often small organizations are flexible, they have quick processes, and an easy communication. These three aspects are fundamental, are really crucial for the good performance and for the good usage of project management. And as a final consideration, if I can bring to you my experience, please consider that you do your project management best practice and a PQP if you partner with your customers. So project management must be considered not as, let's say, something that you passively accept, but something that you actively do, and you do this in partnership with your customer. So I would like to go to the next slide because even if I was talking about customization and the possibility to tailor the usage of project management, we must not forget that typically there are 5 project management groups with their objective to be considered. You can see them in this slide. So the first group is initiate. And you can see that with 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, you cover the whole life cycle of the project. And all this group of activities are a system of activities because they do interact and they are connected. So let's go to the first, which is initiate. So as you can see, the keywords are in bold and we can focus on them. The objectives of the project are defined. The stakeholder requirements are clear and are defined. The context constraints are known and the risk assessment is executed. And there is a formal approval of the engagement. So in some way, this is the initial blessing of your project and project management. Then we have plan. where you have and you acquire all the human and material resources, internal and external. Then you define your project baseline with the deliverables. So everything is defined in terms of activities, time, cost, and quality. The project planning, this is very important, is approved by the management and all the stakeholders. And then you go to the execute group of activities. So when you execute, all the deliverables are agreed, and then you produce and complete your activities. The relevant stakeholders are always involved, and your communication plan and data distribution is effective. Then finally you close with your product and service, which is delivered with the goal achieved. You need to have a formal acceptance by the customer. As I was saying before, lessons learned are captured and the project team is released with a work order which is closed. We must not forget that along the work cycle, along the life cycle of this project, we have monitor and control. So monitor and control happens at the same time of all this group of activities. And as you can see in this slide, all the activities are checked in accordance with code, scope, time, cost, customer expectation, and any deviation are detected, corrective and preventive measures are implemented. So I would say that these are the fundamentals of project management, project and project management, but we can go in a more technical discussion of project management. And Jeff, I would like to ask you to go in the details of these because, I would like you to describe the key project management output for groups, so especially the main purpose and the key elements.
Great, thank you, Diana. As great sharing of the foundations of project management. I wanted to go into deeper in each one of these for the group here. Many project methodologies are centered around grouping project management processes, whether you follow PRINCE2 or PMBOK or some other management system. But the one we're talking about today, I want to focus on, as Diana mentioned, the initiate, plan, execute, monitor, and control. The process provides a framework that teams can manage their projects. The process really can be tailored or scaled to suit a company's business or the product or process that we're trying to develop. So there's a very high degree of tailoring that would be available to the teams. Really, what this does is it allows the teams to emphasize their strengths and address any deficiencies. So embrace the strengths and then use this methodology to address any deficiencies with the team. Getting into a little more detail on the initiate process group, it's really meant to authorize the project and get the project going. We're determining stakeholders and gaining their buy-in. Really getting the stakeholders engaged is critical because we want stakeholders to assist us navigate through challenging times and there to promote the project. So getting their alignment at the start is very important. Establishing a sound project charter is also a key enabler to project success. If this is often an area that is shortchanged in projects, is spend some time, get the charter right, then we're setting a direction and we can move from there. It also serves to determine high-level deliverables and milestones. A lot of them are potentially driven from your customer, but what's most important here is you identify the constraints and assumptions that your team is making, because we'll need to revisit those throughout the project project life cycle. Planning is the next I want to talk about. Again, once you formally authorizing the project, the next focus is the plan group. So this is where we establish the scope of the project. And again, scoping these early process groups where we're doing the planning work, we're setting the structure of the project that will follow as we move forward. So again, you're setting baseline costs and budgets. You're developing your project management plan, your risk management plan, quality plans, and all the other associated planning documentations. Successful teams will also understand risks and opportunities. So risks and opportunities, if I boil that down to one thing throughout your project, is risk management. So both in the project, product design, process design, identifying and mitigating risks is really the core behind all of the project management principles we're going to talk about today. So again, reducing risks and opportunities, potential impacts to the projects. You're looking at safety, quality, delivery, costs, and several other aspects. Diana mentioned lessons learned. We need to be a learning team, a learning organization. During product development and process development, we learn lots of things. The thing that's just the nature of maturing projects. But the thing is, we need to share those lessons learned with our teammates for the next project that comes along. So that's also a key element. Coupled with that, again, communication. Stakeholder management and communication plan. We need to be communicating throughout our organization and the stakeholders, our customers, our suppliers. So as a project manager, a large portion, as you know, of our as a project manager is communication. So that needs to be emphasis here. Again, a solid project management plan is going to enable the teams to execute and achieve successful outcomes both on time, on budget, and on scope. Wanted to talk a little bit more about execute phase. Again, this is where we are executing the baseline, and a lot of companies do this a little differently. We follow typically a gated development structure. So we are checking our development maturity along the way. They're aligned with many of the process groups. So I've seen a 4-gate structure and all the way up to 12. So that is part of the customization that we can have for your particular project that you're managing. All these series of gates that they have, it's just made to measure project maturity. Are we progressing the way we thought we were going to? Are there new things involved that we have to adjust our planning? I mean, in the area of schedule, cost, and scope, we have customers that are asking for changes. We have to make our own changes. Again, it comes down to reducing risk through mitigation measures throughout the project, and it's not only the project risk. You may have some company-wide risks that you need to mitigate. There's also project, product, and process, and I think in the past, process design has really not been a focus for many. It's finish the design and then figure out how to build it. But really, APQP has brought that process design element in forward, where that's we're doing it hand in hand with the design at this point. Another foundation of the Execute group is change management. I mean, how many times do we find that a change will bite us because we haven't understood what is involved with the change well. You know, we need to perform a change impact analysis. What are the implications? Who's needs to, what team members need to be involved? Do we have to look at other changes in our manufacturing process that are driven from design? I mean, so it's really, again, the team's running full steam ahead, and we have major changes come in. We've got to take the time to put the right effort into understanding the change impacts. Again, this is where the stakeholders come into play. They have to be engaged in the project during those challenging times, and they will come. They are there to help, but the team has to keep them aligned, able to communicate, ask them for help when needed. You know, that's what they're there for. Want to move on to the close. Again, as we mentioned, there is a defined ending of the program that we defined in our original scope. So this is a formal acceptance from our customer and stakeholders, determine that we're done. So what done looks like, we should have defined in our scope. And the other element we touched on earlier, again, is the lessons learned. The team needs to best practices along the way, continually sharing that. But in the end of the project, we a lot of companies, you know, they'll disperse wind down. Everyone ends up on other projects, but this is an important part of close. Is let's share all those things we learned over the X number of years that we've been developing this product. It's not only important that we gather them, but we need to share them with the next team so they can improve what they are doing. So it's a continuously building on experience. Again, one of the elements I heard earlier was that recognizing the customer, get the customer involved. You know, they have a different perspective sometimes than we do. So that input is invaluable in getting the customers will tell you what challenges were faced. So that is just incredibly valuable information. And also with suppliers, that's another great avenue to look at. So the suppliers, what challenges did they have? And it may be some aspects of how we're working with them, how we can improve that. So please get the customers and suppliers involved in this as well. Monitor control, again, that follows throughout the project activities. That's managing. Again, you're comparing to your baselines that you've established, both for cost and schedule and requirements. Is the project look different than we did to start with? The answer is probably going to be yes. So the area we need to focus on is the variances. What's different as we go through on a weekly, monthly basis, assessing what's changed, and we need to put measures in place to address those variances. Really, getting back to that central thread that I talked about earlier is monitoring and managing and driving risk reduction throughout the project. So if a team can get if that is their strength, and we're driving risk every day, both through the project, the design, and in the process. If we identify it in the design and early on, it's a tremendous impact downstream. it's a lot less costly to address it in the design, and that is really a best practice. So, I mean, addressing the risk early is the best approach to avoid or minimize any negative cost impacts. All right, I'd like to pass on to Ivan. Let's talk some more about the alignment.
Thank you so much, Jeff. Hi, everyone. Well, we need to combine now project management and APQP. Okay. The first question that I have in my mind is the first approach is more complexity because we have two structures at the same time. And maybe in this first approach, you're right. The thing that we try to do is to fully align the project management and the APQP structure. Why? Because APQP, as Pankaj said at the beginning of this presentation, is if you want to have a more advanced product, you need to have the right planning. And this is that we try to do, to get the full set of benefit of APQP. And when you see from this perspective, it's no longer that you have two different structures. You have only one that is fully integrated. Planning phase for APQP is fully integrated inside of the initiate and plan phase, product design and development, process design and development, product process validation, fully integrated on the execution. And after that, and this is maybe depend of the kind of project, the close phase, in some case for APQP is still ongoing because we have some activities that is also progressing during the serial production as statistical process control, as another different tool. And the most important thing is the full set of APQP is fully integrated inside of the monitor and control phase in the project management, and is bringing this monitor tool to provide what is the early warning system to the project. Other important thing during the planning phase on APQP, starting in the initiate in the project management, because we're going to perform the risk analysis that are going to provide the key element that after that we are going to monitoring. And behind this is where you can find the benefit of integrate both structures to bring the benefit of the early warning system. If we move to the next slide, we try to manage complexity. It's very important that we establish some go-no-go process. And in this case, we are speaking about the gates, where we can check what is the health of our project. And again, we are fully integrated this gate between project management and APQP phases. The target for us is that we don't want surprise. As project manager, I'm not expecting any kind of surprise. I want to go to my gate and go to the next one and prove the maturity and the health of my project. And this is really the benefit that are going to bring you APQP. And this is really the reason that is key, the full integration of the APQP phases with the project manager, to be sure that there is not two different layers, and to be sure that there is not two different teams, two different organizations speaking about the same. If we are not able to integrate these different phases, finally, we are going to include more complexity. That's the reason that we need to understand the principle of APQP. We need to understand the principle of project management to be able to put together. According with the gates, one of the most important things that you need to take into account is the content of this gate. And in the content of this gate, we need to be sure that at least are the critical topics that are going to develop after that by APQP. To really bring the benefit of APQP, this early warning system, these early alerts that say that you are not in the right trends according your expectation, and to have enough time to recover and to be sure that the different element, the different deliverable of your project, when it's at the different gates, they have the maturity enough to avoid that the project manager, they have any kind of surprise. I think that from both structures, This is the global view. And now I'm going to pass the ball to my colleagues, Doc, that are going to explain who can use the project manager in the good way, APQP. Thank you so much.
Hello everyone, my name is Jean-Jacques Delanoux, Airbus Helicopters Standard APQP Standard Owner. So we have discussed with the picture how APQP and project management are aligned. Now need to initiate, and it means firstly determine all APQP activities based on the potential product and or process risks due to, for example, maturity development level, lessons learned from the previous development, constraint from the customer expectation, success criteria and objectives provided by the project or program, etc. Also determine the maturity level of each key deliverables at each gate review for ensuring the project success criteria. Identify also each 9145 activity owner and their dedicated multidisciplinary team. Identified and provide the dedicated training and or communication. After, when we switch on the next slide, on the slide 9, please. Next slide, please. Yes. So plan. Now need to plan our APQP activities. And it's really important that gate 1 to 5 measurable outputs, including their maturity, dates are clearly communicated to the multidisciplinary team during the kickoff meeting. Also important for the project program manager to align all APQP measurable outputs and project management deliverables. It will provide the connection to how DFMEA, process flow diagram, PFMEA, control plan, etc. are related. The 9145 APQP activity owner, it's also in charge to flow down all requirements, inputs to the sub-tier for the external activity and follow the maturity progress for sharing the status with the program project manager during the gate review. If we switch now on the slide 10, execute, in this phase, execute, we will try to break the silos. We will invite the multidisciplinary team, engineering, manufacturing engineering, production, maintenance, to collaborate, work all together through our APQP activities for providing a design manufacturable and maintainable, and ideally without modification change, no conformity, and so on. During this phase, execute, it will be the opportunity to share the design and process risks to avoid and mitigate potential failures. Results and maturity level of those 9145 activities will be provided to the program or project manager during the gate review. It will be an opportunity for him or her to know where we have a product or process risks and evaluate the impact for passing or not this gate review. Additional important added value regarding those 9145 activities is to catch all failures treatment results for standardization and capitalization for the future project. Then it will be a cost for the first time, but reused, it will be a real investment for the future project. For the next slide, close. At this closure phase, we will check if all APQP success criteria defined in the planning phase are fulfilled and catch all lessons learned for the future project. The last important deliverable, because approved by the customer, is the PPAP, the production part approval process. It will encompass all APQP activities. This PPAP will ensure the APQP activities traceability and for the complete life cycle, because to be systematically updated following all modification changes or improvement. Thank you for your attention, and I'll let you the ball, Pankaj, for the suite. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jean-Jacques. Thank you so much for the overview. So what we are trying to do here is to show you how project management and APQP are trying to drive the same thing, and they complement each other. Ivan and Jean-Jacques, they both highlighted, those two systems are trying to drive the same thing. I would like to give an example how those two can complement each other. We all know APQP has phases and it doesn't have gates. Those phases overlap each other, and the timing of those deliverables are really crucial. You may have a program where all the deliverables are completed, but they are not timely completed. You will not get the benefit of APQP. But if you see those deliverables from program management perspective, during those gate reviews, you can actually make sure that the deliverables are completed at the right time with the right maturity. Take an example, DFMEA or DRA. DRA or DFMEA is or should be completed by the end of phase 2, which is product design and development. Any effort you're gonna put on DFME or DRA after your design freeze, after your CDR, does not influence anything. It is just a tick in the box activity. However, if you see through the gates of project management, you can make sure that in that gate, those deliverables are complete, are created, are matured, and those are completed. The same example, I can use it for process world, which is PFD, PFMEA control plan. So now you can see the same thing from the other way. For a project manager to be successful, or a project to be successful, the project manager needs a true input, that where they are staying at which stage of the program. So how good the project is doing, and that can be done by looking at the maturity of the APQP deliverables in those respective gates. Those reviews, those gate reviews can give you truly where your program stands, what are the current existing risks, and do you have the mitigation plan against them. So those two things can truly help each other and can drive, which is the whole philosophy of APQP is to have the project manager driving IPT together and making sure that you have a predictable performance of the project, which is currently is a challenge in our industry. So that is something which we wanted to highlight. So now I'm going to hand it over to Amalio to talk about the toolbox which we have created, and just walk us through that toolbox. Let me share my screen on the toolbox. Can you see the Excel file?
Okay. Not yet, Pankaj. I assume it's coming.
Yes, let me share my screen again. Just give me a second. So
Here we go. Okay, so thank you very much, Pankaj, and let me come back to the emphasis that has been put by my colleagues on the importance of integrating APQP and project management. As it has been mentioned several times, both approaches complement each other. And in order to give a guidance on how to do that in practical terms, the team has built up the tool that we are showing you is developed in Excel. And basically, it gives you a kind of guidance to combine the monitoring and controlling activities of project management with the proactive risk mitigation mindset that brings APQP. Basically, it aligns gates, optimizing the efforts that we do with APQP. So it brings together these two activities. And on the other hand, it boosts the conventional project management, because rather than waiting for gate to check if all the deliverables are released properly.
Oh, I guess we lost audio from Amalio. Okay. I will try to cover the portion for Amelio. So what Amelio is trying to say is those gates, this tool which we have created has a tabs for different gate reviews, and a project manager can actually use this, just plug and play. That project manager can use this on existing programs and just use this checklist to check how mature you are in this program at this stage, and what are the things which needs to be completed, what are the risks, and is there a green signal to move to the next gate or next phase in the program. So you can see it on the screen, gate 0, which covers the activities from initiate phase, initiate process group from the program. Gate 1, similar to that, it covers the activities which needs to happen between gate 0 and gate 1. And if you do that gate review with those activities, it can give a project manager together with IPT what's the pulse of the program. Are we on track? Is there something which needs to be addressed, and are we eligible to move to the next gate? So what the team has done an amazing job with is those activities are those are project management activities along with APQP activities. So those two are trying to drive the same thing. I don't want to repeat myself, and those in your time you can review those activities and to understand that to highlight how APQP and project management both are aligned. So this is the overview which we wanted to give you on the Excel tool. Please feel free to use this, and you can even adopt those activities as per your need, as per need of your program. So that is something which we wanted to present. Now I would like to request Mark to please conclude the session and help us further on summarizing the topic.
Sounds good. Can you hear me, Pankaj?
Yes, I can hear you, and
Okay.
I'm going to share the screen, and I'm going to turn off my camera. Okay. The floor is yours.
All right, thanks. Great webinar. This team has done an absolutely amazing job creating this SCMH section, the podcast, the webinars, really a great job. But as I was listening to this webinar, I actually wrote some notes down here while listening to this webinar. It's kind of a fascinating topic for me, and something that's so important for our industry to understand. What you just heard is a webinar about improving our new product development through good program management. Okay, I'm going to rephrase that. Improving our advanced product development with good planning. I'm going to rephrase that again. Advanced product development with quality planning. I'm going to rephrase that again. Advanced product quality planning. APQP. What you heard was the essence of APQP. Probably more than most APQP trainings I ever hear or have ever even been a part of. So many APQP trainings speak to the tools of APQP. And even to subdivide that to a smaller set, I would even say the tools of PPAP is what I call them. The DFMEA, the process flow diagram, PFMEA control plan, the MSA, the initial process capability study, blah, 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 blah. APQP, yes, utilizes those tools. It does. And it actually utilizes 25 different tools, 47 deliverables. Okay. But in its essence, the advanced product quality process is improving our new product development through good program management. It is a program management tool. The confusion in our industry, for those who came from automotive, which includes myself, is automotive released this through an organization called AIAQG. Okay. Our organization, aerospace, our standards organization is called IAQG. Ours has a Q in it. The aerospace industry quality group, that's our standard organizations. The automotive one does not have a Q in it. So because this was released through the IAQG, which is the aerospace standards organization, that Q in APQP stuck to the Q in IAQG, which meant quality and not good. The essence of what you heard in the beginning from Pankaj was this process is really around advancing product development with good planning, quality planning. Okay, so this is what's so important for our industry to understand. And if I could give this training to anybody that wants to learn APQP, I would give them this training first. I would give them this training first, and then I would start to teach them the tools of APQP, because it would help reprogram our mindset to understanding that APQP is a program management tool to be led by leaders of our cross-functional team, whatever your company calls that, the leader of the cross-functional team. And then the activities under APQP are around the tools that are in the process. These engineering tools, quality, design, manufacturing tools that are a part of it. And this webinar, this training did really an incredible job of breaking through that barrier. And I really appreciate that. Thank you to this team for creating this SCMH section, creating this webinar, creating this podcast. Very, very powerful and needed in our industry. Thank you, folks.
Thank you so much, Mark. Thank you so much for summarizing this. I couldn't have put it in a better way. This is truly, embracing project management philosophy, project management principles in APQP world. But thank you so much. So we do have, we can take few questions. I'm just gonna, I think some of them are already addressed. I see one question here talking about, I'm gonna quote, the project management you described for traditional project management. How do you align agile and hybrid project management with APQP? Needs more clarification on that. So just to, I'm glad to announce that PSCI team has agreed to continue on this topic. We have explored the waterfall approach on project management, and the same team, along with additional team members, we are going to explore the space. What does agile is, and how the principles and values of agile are complementing or maybe contradicting with APQP. It is more of a research topic, so we would like to explore that further, and maybe maybe within next 6 months or a year time, we will have the content created for that, and also we could have a similar webinar on that topic. Next question, APQP influence design. Actually, the questions have been added in the chat, so it's really difficult to manage those. Let me go through them. Few.
Pankaj, if I can add one
please.
Information referring to
Please.
a few questions, because they were really very, very interesting. One was out experiences that in order to get top management support meeting APQP or AS 9145 requirements must be mandatory by contract or AS 9100. So this is true, but it is very interesting to note that there are some situations where customers are involving small new suppliers, maybe for some development activity, new projects, and so on. And so what happens is that APQP is not mandatory, but it is highly recommended. In this situation, if a company is ready to accept and to perform according to APQP, this becomes very, very important. And another aspect is what is a small organization. So I can give an answer to this question according to the European perspective. The European Commission defines a small organization, the organization up to 50 employees and up to 10 million of turnover. So if we stay in the formal definition, this is a small organization for the European Commission. But in an extended interpretation of small organization, we must consider, for instance, organizations who do not have engineering activities, companies who do perform according to the technical requirements given by the customer. There is a certain situation where small organizations are, what I said before, according to the European Union, but also referring to some typical situation. And then there was an interesting comment saying that the PQP needs to begin at the beginning. Yes, absolutely. I absolutely agree on that. And just to joke with you, I would say that it should start before the beginning, because APQP is, first of all, a mindset. And so having a mindset on APQP is something that is crucial and fundamental for starting this path, this activity in the right way. Thank you.
That is great. Thank you so much, Diana, sharing your thoughts. So Amelio is back on the call again. So Amelio, do you want to share a couple of thoughts which you couldn't earlier before we close off?
Thank you, Pancas. From my side, I think that everything has been mentioned, but just to emphasize that the work of the team has been very, very oriented and very well focused on integrating APQP and project management, and that is based on the experiences that we have in our different companies really pay off, really make the difference, and really enables that both methodologies, both project management as well as APQP, bring the most of them. So really hoping that the work will be helpful for the entire community, and looking forward to continue working in the agile elements that Pancas was mentioning before.
That is great. Thank you so much, Amelio. So Susan, do you wanna close out the webinar and say a few things?
Yes, thank you. Thank you everyone for joining us today. You had a lot of comments in the chat as well as in the Q&A. Very much appreciated. It's always good to have an engaged audience. Thank you for joining us and learning more about the project management and APQP alignment. As a reminder, and I think this was asked throughout, yes, this webinar is being recorded. It will be available in SCMH under the Plan and Manage section in the 7.9 project management area in about a week from today. It will also be available on the IAQG YouTube channel. For more information on SCMH, please, we ask you to visit scmh.iaqg.org on the web. Thanks again. Have a wonderful day.